James, I can't. How you doing, James?
Good. How you, Andre?
Doing good, buddy.
Ready here.
All right, all right. Get a little light on this party. Hey, Lauren.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Braden to bring the fire today.
All right, you got to say that with enthusiasm, though.
Well, I'm sure he will. I know he does. I know we got some great agents on here. I know I got a couple of guests on here, so looking forward to showing people what we're doing to help them grow their businesses.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then, got a lot of people watch this on recording, so that's good. Let's see. You got people texting me saying, hey, trying to get in. It's frozen.
Warren, would you mind getting your Facebook and KV Core pulled up and being able to share your screen for when we get going here in a sec?
Let me text this guy real quick, see if I can get him in.
Yeah, hold on a second. Sorry. So like it's not working on the desktop.
Uh-oh.
I like this link for this call is only working on my phone and not on desktop. I don't know why.
Maybe try it again. We've had some issues.
Yeah,
Dan,
I
are we-
took out the HTTPS and just put in my funnel, myrealestatefunnel.com and got in.
Okay, myrealestatefunnel.com. Oops.
Yep.
Okay.
I had that problem on a different Zoom too, when we took out the www we got in recently.
I just typed it in. I was lazy and rushed, and I just put in my real estate.
There you go. See, more than one way to get in, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is working.
Yvonne, I'm glad to see you here for your second Funnel Friday call of the day. So
Right.
hopefully I'm not spilling.
What
Holly's
easy,
awesome,
my easy.
yeah, Holly's really good. You can't go wrong listening to some of the stuff she has to say. But yeah, that's just a little cleanup I got to do on my end from
It's all good. This is my second call with Holly this week.
yeah, she's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Know her personally and spent some time with her in events around the country. So she's pretty awesome once you get to know her.
Mhm.
And she threw me about for a surprise after a while. I was like, wow, this is a really sharp lady. She's got an extensive list of super high musicians that she's interviewed and had on a podcast. So pretty impressive what she's done in other realms for branding and marketing in the music world. So, all right, let's get this started. Enough of me rambling on about stuff that has nothing to do with Funnel Friday. So anyone want to start off with a win or, and I have a unique one, but anyone have a win they want to share before we start talking with Lauren today? Okay, good. I'll go. So, so Saturday I had sitting in a parking lot, had an inbound call from a city that I'm doing some marketing in, and it's not near where I live. So that was pretty cool too, actually, because it'd be a referral. But so I see the city name and I take the call, and it was an inbound call from the funnels. So a lady reached out to me and said, hey, got your email? I'm thinking, yeah, that wasn't me. That was campaigns automation. So I got your email, got into a conversation with her. Super nice lady, looking for her mom and her dad. They're older, going to downsize. Dad's in poor health. Wants a 3-2, maybe a 2-2. 350 to 400. She done enough research, knew that was a tall ask, asked more questions, asked more questions, kind of find out they have a home to sell, probably right around 500. Then they'll pay cash for the 350 to 400. So it went from, she's in no hurry to, hey, they have a house to sell and they'll actually buy as soon as you find them something, but they're in no hurry. But they do need to get this done before too long. So that's a really good example of an inbound call from the funnels that could be about 900,000 in total business. And then for me, that also is pretty exciting that it's not in my area, so I have to refer it out. And, love that part of the business where you're creating I'm not creating a lead, I'm creating opportunity and handing a solid referral to an agent and picking up a solid referral fee from a solid agent from a solid referral. So just a quick testimony example of some inbound things that happened to me with the funnels this past week. So who else wants to share?
Is Carla Harris on here by chance or no? She had a good win. I don't think she's on here. I don't see her. But she had a good win. She's a brand new agent. You see her, Dan? Is she on here?
I don't think she's on. I don't think she's on here, but she is brand new. But she's working hard.
Brand new, straight hustler. Up at 5 a.m. getting after it. But she about 3 days in sets an appointment with a lead that had come in from her new construction funnel. That's kind of currently in the process of finishing up their property that they live in on a remodel, and is going to be listing that property with her and then purchasing about 700,000 in volume there. And she wasn't even a weekend. I think it was 3 or 4 days in, and she's a brand new agent, guys. So it's not like she had been in the business for a while and just really knows how to, for lack of better words, finesse somebody into an appointment, right? So that was a big win that I like to see last week. So sharing that on behalf of Carla.
Yeah, that is awesome. Love the quick success. Yep. So it can happen, right? That's a cool thing about it. You get to start doing some work and good stuff happens, and then sometimes it takes a while and sometimes it doesn't. So you never know until you get up and go through the steps. Anyone else have something they want to share before we start talking with Lauren? We've got 23 minutes and more of her time.
Hey, James, would you allow me to share my screen? So, Braden can take whatever. I'm trying to share it and it's not letting me.
You can now share.
Yeah, go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, we'll have to give her a co-host and then.
Hey, Stephen,
Okay,
don't you have a win, Stephen? You just started your funnel Friday. Started your funnel just yesterday and got you got a first lead that came in within what, minutes of after you getting it up and running?
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I had to unmute myself. Yeah, as soon as I got set up, I got a IG and Instagram lead probably within the first half hour or so. So it came up pretty quick, and then I got one at like 1 o'clock in the morning last night, and then another one at like 8 o'clock in the morning this morning. So I've had 3 so far. Called all 3, haven't got any response, left 2 messages. But I'm all over it. I'm happy I'm getting some leads. I look forward to more coming in because I'm ready.
That's awesome. Good job.
I think we've got our review. When is that, Monday? Stephen?
Yes. Yeah, Monday at 3 o'clock my time. So I think it's 1 o'clock Central Time or 2 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Do I have
Go ahead.
yeah, I've got control here. So we're gonna get into the numbers here first, and then just to kind of show you where we're at, cost per lead wise, how many leads generated. And then Lauren, if you want to share kind of what you're sitting at in terms of working with. So, all right, Lauren, I think we're 2 weeks into this, right? Give or take, maybe a little over 2 weeks.
Yep.
So let me scroll this over and look at the maximum. So we're at a $2.53 cost per lead. We spent $194.86. We've generated 77 leads so far. And from those 77, we'll get into contact rate here in a second, but what are we working from those 77 currently?
So, out of those right now, I have 5 buyers, super strong, with 4 of those buyers also having a home to sell.
Nice. So that would be, 9 potential deals that we're looking at. And what would be the time frame you think on those? Into this, right?
What was that?
What would the time frame you think on those?
Between some of them, half of them are saying like 1 to 3 months, and some of them are saying next year, but they're also looking at more probably within the next 6 months. So I think there's only 2 of them that were like, well, my lease ends next year. But then the more we've been having conversations, they're like, well, you know what? Maybe it's going to be this year. Like they're starting to see the possibility of being able to move sooner.
Gotcha.
Just by having conversations with them, allowing them to talk and ask them a lot of questions.
Right on. I do want to see kind of what our response rate is, or see here. What's the hashtag on these?
New construction or NC Ackworth.
So
all the ones in red, these were like calls that I made yesterday. I did not get contact with them, but they're ones that I'm, working on starting the 8 touch and recalls.
gotcha. So it looks like there's been 12 that are considered active lead out of that 77, but it didn't appear that all 77 were in there. It only showed, I think, 68. Yeah, because it's only showing 68. So we need to take a look at that. See, did we happen to archive any of those leads or no?
Maybe. I'll have to double check. There were a couple that I thought that that unsubscribed, like hard unsubscribed,
Right.
both email and phone. But for those, I might have archived those because I was like, just get those out of the way. I didn't even want to deal with them.
Gotcha. And if you were just to be conservative, what would you say the average price point on those deals were?
Like 400,000, 450,000.
Just call it 400,000.
Oh, 400,000, yeah.
3.6 million in potential volume. Obviously, probably not all that's going to close, but 3.6 potential million in volume, and pretty good stuff. So, is there anything that you would like to share that you feel like we are going to go through kind of what I talked about? You sent me that text last night. I'll go through that here in a second, but is there anything that you feel like maybe that you've learned or that you think would be beneficial for any of these other agents listening in?
First of all, the script is fantastic. I have worked with a lot of scripts. The one thing I really like about the script is that it allows the other person to answer questions. You're not telling, you're allowing them to have time and possession, which if they say it, they own it.
Right.
So having me allowing them to, I'm asking the questions, I'm listening to like their personality, their style, trying to match that. And even if they're like at first hesitant, I'm still asking them, moving into another question, and that seems to relax them more and more. And then it gives them clarity, and nobody's confused, right? And if there is any confusion, it's me asking those questions. So long story short, the script really helps really set the tone and make it a lot easier. It's very easy to speak. And then also the second piece is if I'm out and about and I don't have that speed to lead, the AI is amazing with filtering through. They feel like they're having a conversation with me. Like literally some of them I got on the phone and they're like, oh, when you asked me this the other day, blah, 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 I was like, that is so cool. So the AI is helping to, it's the right kind of wording again, that's getting something back from that lead. Is that lead a tire kicker? You know, I think I've only had like 2 people hang up on me, like, oh yeah, I'm not interested, click. I'm like, okay, great. I still set them to prospect, and as long as they haven't unsubscribed to me, I still continue as normal, you know. I throw in my newsletter. But
Gotcha.
so those are the 2 things that I really, really like is the script and the AI.
Let me clarify, guys, just real quick, and it's not that you're wrong at all, but this is not technically AI, right? So the reason I want to clarify on this for anybody that may be using, because we do have a version of this with Lofty, or have looked into Lofty and kind of thinking of the AI there. There's not AI in this, okay? There is text campaigns that we've built in here, and what she's referring to is that when a lead comes in, I have built a series of questions that do make sense, that go off each day. And I believe that's what you're referring to there, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not technically AI, because AI would mean that a lead responds to us, and then based on what that response is, the AI comes up with its own version of a response and goes back and forth with that lead. This doesn't have that. But this does ask, the lead questions each day as lead, as you know, from the first day it comes in, it's going to send them a 2-minute text. It's going to send them a 3-minute email. If they don't respond to either of those, and we leave the campaign running, which we should per the process, there's going to be another text that goes the next day. And I believe that goes on for several days, 5 days or so, from when the lead comes in. And so that's kind of what she's referring to there. But I've tried to build that in a way that it's asking questions to get engagement from these leads, specific to the location, specific to the type of ad that we're running. So it's going to be different for each of the ones we run. One thing I do want to say with the script, some people like scripts, some people don't like scripts. Me personally, I was never a big script guy. Even though I did build a script, the thing with script is, and just one thing I want to point out about it is, she was talking about, she liked how it asked the questions. And so a good thing to remember with the script, and I'll just kind of go into why I don't necessarily like script, is if you ever get into a script and the lead takes you off course, and then you're kind of up a creek because you don't know what to say next. The thing with this is if you can take these questions and understand what's the end goal that I'm trying to get to, and kind of start to learn some of these questions that are in the script, you're going to find that typically works out a little bit better, and you don't get kind of caught up a creek not knowing what to say, because occasionally that can happen. But I'm glad that you're enjoying the script and it's working well for you. And so the one thing I do want to cover today, unless you got anything else, is kind of talking about that dashboard activity that you asked me about yesterday. You have anything else you want to share before we get into that?
I think the other important, just the number 3, that's really number 1, is that I am committed to being consistent and following up. That is definitely the I feel like has worked, is my plan is not to stop this. I'm going on a cruise for a week, and I'm going to continue this. Anyway, so I'm not going to lose out.
Yeah,
follow up.
Yeah, and guys, to be honest with you, and just the call prior to this, I was going through kind of the priority list. I think I covered it a couple weeks ago, and I'll start with the priority list, because I think it's super important. It'll also kind of shed some light on the fact that there's really not a ton of time that needs to be invested into this necessarily, if you don't want to invest a ton of time into this. But each day you should be dedicating a certain amount of time. And I think probably the more leads you have in here, the more time you would have to invest into this. But the number one thing on the priority list is, each day that we get into the system, we should be, reviewing our tasks that are due for the day. And the reason that we're doing that is because I could have set a task a week ago, a month ago, days ago, where now there's something that comes up in my day-to-day, that day at least, that may interfere with that. And that could be a showing, that could be a, a listing appointment, that could be something with the family, who knows what it could be. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't still complete that task just because something comes up, right? So making sure at the beginning of the day, we're getting clarity on, hey, of my tasks that are due for today, and to kind of just explain, for anybody that may not know what exactly a task is, that means that's somebody I've made contact with, that I'm continuing to cultivate a relationship with, that's not ready to do something right now, right? So, there shouldn't be anything that gets in the way of that. And if there is, then I need to make sure that I'm moving that task, right? Setting it at a different time, whether it's later that day or the next day or whenever the next time I can get to it is, so I still continue to follow the process of hitting the task and then setting another task, right? Because we do see that it takes about 7 touches or contacts with the lead before you typically put them under contract. So the second one is going to be, once I've got clarity, right? I'm good. The first thing I did, I looked at my system. I've got clarity. I know when my tasks are. Nothing's in the way. We're good to go. I should be reviewing my new leads, right? Let's say I put up shop at 6 p.m. yesterday. I didn't get back to the office or the computer till 8 this morning. Well, there could have been some leads like Steven, kind of mentioned earlier, somebody that came in at 1 o'clock in the morning, somebody that came in at 8, right? So there's going to be some leads that come in from the time you put up shop yesterday to the next morning. And so we want to make sure that, when we get back to the office, after we've gotten clarity on our day, that we, either disposition or text back or email back or call leads that are the new leads that have come into the system. And that would be the second priority, would be getting those all taken care of and situated. The third priority, which is kind of the big point of what me and Lauren were talking about yesterday, is reviewing the dashboard activity. Okay, so this is the dashboard activity. We're sitting on it right here. And so there's going to be several things that come up in the dashboard activity. One thing I want to mention is that the big reason why we disposition, or one of the big reasons why we disposition these new leads to a prospect, is because if you don't disposition it to a prospect, it's going to sit in here in your dashboard activity as a new lead, and that is taking up a tile or a space here for something that is really, in my opinion, not that important, right? I would rather see, and to go into depth about what exactly you'll see here, text response, email response, and the main thing is these property views right here, right? And so making sure we're getting those leads dispositioned into a prospect lead is always super important, so we can get those tiles freed up for more beneficial information, if you will, right? And so as you review this, obviously, if there's text or emails that you need to respond to, that's a big thing. But the other thing that's important here is this property views, right? And so this is another reason why I say at all costs, as much as we can, is to always set up these leads on a search alert from KB Core as opposed to using the MLS portal. I have had some conversations. There's probably some agents that are on this call that don't know what I'm talking about here, but it's when, what happens when I build a search alert out and I can't get anything to come up. Of course, at the end of the day, we don't want to send somebody something they don't want to see. But if at all possible, we need to be using the search alert as the main way to send properties to these leads for several reasons. Really, one, we can gauge and see what they're looking at and how many times they're looking at it. Right here, Tommy Griffin, we've seen, has looked at this property 4 different times. If you see these icons up top, there's a desktop and a mobile view. And I've always said anything 2 or more, because what this means is I've sent an email to Tommy from the search alert. He's opened the email, scrolled through all the list of homes, clicked on that property. Okay. Got out of that email, probably got another 50 or 100 emails in his inbox, came back to that email, opened it up again, and scrolled through and found that property again. Right. He's done that 4 times. That's a pretty big reason, in my opinion, to reach out to somebody based on that. I call it ammunition. Right. It's giving me ammunition to reach back out. So, that's a big reason as to why you want to make sure you're keeping them on the search alerts. But the one thing I want to share today, and you can write this down if you want, and it's not, kind of change it up if you need to, or however you want to say it. But, the one thing I would be doing is, first of all, let me say, to bring some clarity to it, whether they're opening it through desktop or they're opening it through mobile view, they're opening it in their email. Okay. So that means that, I may or may not have a good phone number for this lead, but I know that they're opening the email, right? So the very first thing that I would do if I was going to do anything with this ammunition, right, would be email that lead. So I could hit the email and I wouldn't use the subject, check out this listing, and I wouldn't use this phrase, but I would put something, I mean, you could leave the subject, but the one thing I would change for sure is the body here. And the kind of the phrase that I always use was, I noticed you were checking out the property or the home on 123 Main Street. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any questions or need any additional information, ? Now you can see here that in this, there's a link to the property. And of course I would have erased that first piece of it, but I would go ahead and move that link down and say, I've, dropped the link below if you'd like to take a look at that property again as well. However you want to say that, right? Which is engaging the lead, trying to see if we have any questions or if they need any additional information. And then 2, you're sending that property to them again in case they want to check it out. Okay. So that's the big thing that I kind of want to go through today, which is, if you're reviewing this dashboard activity, what are we doing with it, right? We're trying to utilize it to get engagement, get a response from a lead, because who knows, there's a lot of times that just understanding the system, we don't have very many hard copy emails in this drip campaign, right? And so a lot of times we're trying to call these leads, we're trying to text these leads. And so if we use this where we email the lead and we say, hey, are there any questions that you have or need any additional information, you may be able to get some engagement, some conversation going through email, where then ultimately we would be trying to get that back to a phone, right? Through text or through a phone call. But this is something you can use to do that. You also have the capability, if you have a phone number on that lead, to text it to them as well. It wouldn't hurt to probably email that and then say the same thing through text, trying to see if you can get a response through that as well. All kind of dependent on, honestly, if you've made contact with them and know whether or not you have a good phone number or if you don't, would be what I would kind of say there. Because, in my opinion, honestly, if they've been looking at properties through email, obviously that's where it's coming from. But I've been in contact with them through text before. I would probably text it to them as opposed to email it to them, right? Because through text is probably something they're going to see more frequently or a better chance of responding to quicker, right? As opposed to email. But if I've never been in touch with the lead, the first thing I'm doing is going through email, and then I'm probably going to send them a text as well to see if I can't get a response. So those are kind of the things that I wanted to cover today and just shed some light on. And then again, there's some other options you have there. The core video, I've never really did much with that, but you could always, it's got the other option there is call, where you could call that lead, call that lead from that behavior, if you will, that they've done there. So 2 or more guys, that's what I'm saying is kind of my identifier there. If I see 2 or more, I'm using that to reach out. Cool. Dan, you got anything?
Yeah, I do. So I appreciate you asking. One is I don't want it to be missed that that I was excited that Lauren mentioned that how much she likes the script, because Lauren comes from running a call center. So she knows all about scripts. She knows about good scripts, bad scripts, so scripts, how to work scripts, how to help people work scripts. So that's a big deal that she thought that highly of that script. And then also, I don't think Lauren minded me pointing this out, just what a cool opportunity this is. Lauren and I had a similar situation in that we were both solo broker owners, and, trying to figure out how to do something like this would have been impossible for me. I'll just speak for myself. Like, even if I would have known to try to figure this out, I couldn't have figured it out. But, to figure this out at the level that Braden can help us with that, I could have probably not gotten to by myself for forever. So, it's an opportunity that we're excited to share with the group. And we're excited that once the group kind of grabs it and has success with it, then we can help you even share that opportunity with others that are a good fit. It's not the right fit for everyone because you have to do work. You got to get up, pick up the phone, stuff like that. But for a lot of agents, this is a big deal. So I appreciate you for that, Braden. Appreciate James and Andre and Levi for helping make this happen as well. And just wanted to point out the script part. But yeah, thank you, Lauren, for hopping on. And, thank you for trusting in us enough to go down the road with us.
Yeah.
Cool.
Weird.
James Massey, you have anything you'd like to add to that?
I have a
I
question.
do have one. I'm going to take advantage of James being on mute. I do love with KV Core, I've downloaded the app. So that's what I do. I do all my calls on my phone because it's so easy. Once I get off the phone, it automatically takes me to what's next, right? So once I hang up on the call, it still is kind of like live, like end call. It says end call, but the call's already ended. And then that's where I can go in and quickly do my task and set that up. So I love that I have the opportunity to do that quickly through my phone. Of course, you can do it on the desktop too. It just seems really easy to do it right there from my phone. So that was the other thing that I like.
Yeah, and I love that too. Like, recently going out to shoot a YouTube video, I get a text that said both. And at first I was like, that's weird. And they're like, oh yeah, they're responding to the campaigns and automation, right? Hey, do you want new construction, resale, or both? They text back both. So obviously it's a real human that texts me from their real phone number. So then it's just a matter of going down the process of, engagement. And like Michelle taught us last week, the two big keys are engagement and follow-up. I'm way better at follow-up than I am engagement. So, just took that and then run with it. And at my age too, when people say hello, I think that's kind of weird. So I had to learn to kind of go ahead and go through the steps of engaging with somebody that just says hello, because maybe they're just being polite instead of me. My initial thought was that's pretty darn weird. So anyway, I appreciate that insight as well. James, you have any thoughts? And then we'll get to Hunt's question.
No, I mean, I think everything was said. I mean, perfect.
Okay, good deal. What's your thoughts or questions, Yvonne?
Oh, okay. So, she has 77 leads. It's great. Love that. How long has your campaign been running, Lauren, for your 77 leads?
It's about, I would say 3 weeks.
Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great, great, great. My other question is, in terms of your engagement on Facebook, is this interdependent with that, or is this, as you run ads on Facebook, it has nothing really, does it have anything to do with how active you are on Facebook, or no?
Has nothing to do with how active I am on a Facebook.
Good. I was hoping you'd say that, because half of the people, I'm from Southern California, so half of the people that I are in California, so I was hoping you'd say that,
Yeah, zero to do with that. It's run through a Facebook business page. Just
Yeah.
we can put ad spend on that. But my Facebook page is basically inactive, and I don't put anything on there. I couldn't tell you last time I posted on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't really do a lot of that. I do some, but it's just not really my thing, right? So I was hoping you'd say that. Plus, like I said, my friends, and I do it mainly for friends and family, and it is what it is. So good. That's good news. I had another question earlier, but I forgot what it was. So I'm sorry.
Mind if I jump in here for a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so my understanding is we're using two different CRMs here. I'm using KV Core, and I think other people are using Lofty, right?
Not really.
No,
Is everybody on the KV
I don't
Core?
think anybody's on here is using Lofty.
I did invite somebody on the call. Hema, I'm gonna point you out. I had somebody join the call. She does use Lofty. Sorry, pointing you out, Hema.
Yeah, actually. And I am interested in this.
So
I'd like to connect with you, Braden, if you get some time.
Sure.
Well, the cool thing about that, I'll touch on this thing, so
yeah.
Lauren, is we do have the option to use Lofty, but to make sure that we're answering Stephen's question, it's an option. We start with KB Core because there's not an additional cost. And KB Core is darn good enough to probably do about, in my humble opinion, 250,000 at least a year through this system.
100%.
And if you need to, if you need to grow, we can have a side conversation about Lofty, or you can ask now. We're not telling you don't ask, but yeah, just so I'm super clear, we're almost, like Braden said, I think I have Lofty.
Okay.
I just have Lofty for a learning basis.
So my question, Braden, is you mentioned, my understanding is when a lead comes in, they get a text and an email within the first 5 minutes. You mentioned something beyond that. You said for the first few days, they get some sort of automated text or email. Can you kind of expand on that? Because You said you're reaching out, asking them questions. Can you give me some context on that?
Yeah, so there's a text and email drip campaign that's assigned to these leads when they come in. The beginning of that's going to be a 2-minute text, 3-minute email, right? That will continue ongoing with text and email over the next, I believe it's 5 days. I call it the engagement campaign.
Okay, so it's like one a day for the
Yeah.
first 5 days, something like that.
Sure.
Okay.
Sir, if you would like to take a look at what those say, then jump into your marketing tab on the left-hand side of your KV core, go into campaigns or smart campaigns, I believe it is, and look at, you'll see it. It says whatever funnel we're running, new construction probably, and then the location you're running it in. And you can click into that and see there's text and emails in there of what they say.
So with the Lofty, I think it's automatically connected, right? I see it's already there without having any system. I think the one thing that it is doing extra is sending that leads and attaching it to KV Core or to the Lofty, correct, Brian?
Say that again.
So Lofty, can I share my screen for a second? If I'm not sure if everyone has the time, but if anyone wants to see the Lofty.
Yeah, we're really not trying to promote Lofty here. I'll answer your questions if you got them, but we're not really trying to get agents to use Lofty. So can you just state it again for me?
So I'm not trying to promote Lofty either. I'm just trying to say, looks like Lofty is doing automatically all these things, correct?
So for those that don't know, I mean, over the last year, we built out a whole Lofty funnel pilot, as you may have seen it. But the thing with Lofty is there's a couple differences, right? There's the API nation that we use in KV Core. There's a direct connection with Lofty that, the leads come in a different way. There's no dashboard activity in Lofty. That's one thing that I really don't like about Lofty, is that there's no dashboard activity. The biggest difference, though, is going to be that there's an AI bot in Lofty that's not in KV Core. So, you can set up a search alert the same way that we do in KV Core, in Lofty as well, where they're sending properties automatically. You just don't get to see the views on a dashboard the same way. And then, if you're utilizing that AI bot, there's going to be that bot that is engaging that lead as soon as it comes in the same fashion that we're using the smart campaign with the text and emails. The only difference is that, if that lead responds to the AI bot, that AI bot's going to ask them another question, and continue to converse back and forth with that lead. And in some cases, we've seen it even set an appointment, but we've also had our own set of problems with that as well. So I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to.
That's what I'm referring to. Yep.
Yeah. So if that answers your question.
And I'm happy to hop on a call with you and Lauren as well if you want to go a little deeper on that. Yeah, we're not trying to we're not trying to promote Lofty, but we do have that option for agents. But most of the time so far, it's probably not the best option and probably not the initial.
The best way that I say it is this.
Yeah.
And this is just transparent, and people may or may not like to hear this. I've had more agents have success with KV Core, meaning on a scale of how many agents I've had success, it's with KV Core because it's an easier system to learn. I think there's some things that require an agent to be more consistent and disciplined in it that drives better results. I've had several agents have a higher conversion rate in Lofty, but it's been very few that are willing to learn that system, stay committed, stay disciplined, and stay consistent in it. If that kind of makes sense. And it is, I can't argue with AI, right? It's like, there is a bot that responds to a lead back and forth when you're away from your phone, probably going to drive a better response rate, probably, or a better conversion rate at least. So, that's kind of the deal with that. But I've also seen a ton of agents get very lazy and think that the AI is going to do all the work for them and they quit getting into their system. They quit following up with leads. They think AI is the end all be all, and that's just not the case. I look at it as something that is a good safety net for when you're away from your computer or your phone and you can't converse back and forth with the lead that comes in. But at the end of the day, there's not going to be anything better than an agent that's in the market, has the market knowledge, and knows how to genuinely connect with the lead on the other end of the line as opposed to AI. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Yep, 100% agree. I have both, so I can speak intelligently. I can go pros and cons if anyone wants to do a one-on-one on that. Make sure that get all your questions answered. But anyone else have any other questions today before we wrap this up? Lauren, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Congratulations on your recent success. I'm super excited for you.
Yeah. I think the other thing I was super impressed with, just real quick, was just how quickly this was set up. I mean, it's saved me so much time, and it's so easy to follow. Again, with that script, there's like just an introduction page that says, here's generally what this is, here's generally what you need to do, and here's how you status your lead, and just a one pager. And it's just easy to work from that. And honestly, the script just helps the initial guide. Sometimes I'm not strict to it, but it is something that I can have in front of me. So if I do get a little lost on the call, I can go back to a question I hadn't asked, or I can just go, where I might go next in the conversation. It at least gets the conversation going.
All right, that's awesome. Anyone else have any other thoughts or questions for Lauren before we wrap this up?
One quick question. Do I need to purchase a smart number?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, that was
100%. Here's the deal. This don't make no sense. So when it comes out of my mouth, just understand it. It's not going to make any sense. But the number that you have prior to a smart number, when a lead comes in and you text back and forth with that lead, that conversation will stay strictly to you. If that lead calls into that number, that lead is going to be round robined to other agents within your marketplace that are at EXP. How that happens, not exactly sure. Why it happens, not exactly sure. Wish it didn't happen. But that is the case. So that means in the case that a lead comes in, let's say, for instance, Dan, that had an inbound call the other day. If he wouldn't have had the smart number, then if that lead would have called in, or when it did call in, it would have been round robin to another agent, your competition in the market, and you'd have lost that deal more than likely. So for $27 a month or whatever it is, I highly suggest that you get it. And two, if you're following the process, making your calls from the system, and if you are leaving messages and you expect callbacks, 100% get it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So from my caller ID, the one that's automatically generated is coming through their line as the caller ID, not my phone number, obviously.
Correct.
Right. So if I'm leaving them a voicemail, I'm leaving my phone number. So if they call my phone back, then that's great, but it won't be recorded by KV Core, obviously.
Right.
Yep. Not part of the process. Yeah. Wouldn't suggest that. I was just on the call before this with an agent, and I was just telling him, like, listen, here's the deal. I'm not saying don't use your personal phone as a secondary alternative form of communication. But, at the end of the day, as soon as you start trying to use your personal phone as the way to communicate with these leads and convert leads, the problem that you're going to run into is that you're going to find yourself being less and less involved in the system, less and less consistent in the system. And so in a perfect world, if an agent could do all this from their personal phone and disposition leads and update notes and set up search alerts and be really disciplined about that, then it wouldn't be a problem. But the chances I just don't see that happen very often, right? It's, we started talking back and forth on my phone, and now we're texting back and forth, and then I didn't update notes, I didn't set my task, I didn't, and then leads fall through the cracks. So it's just not really a good best use or best practice, in my opinion, to try to involve your personal phone. I will say on the caveat, up until you maybe get 30 days out from purchasing a home. Like if we're going to start looking at properties and things are getting pretty serious and I've got a pre-approval and like, you know, it's go time, then yeah, I'm probably going to, you know, want to take things to my personal number just due to the fact that if I'm between, you know, we've got 5 showings on the books today and we're between properties and I need to call them or text them that I'm stopping at the gas station, whatever the case, right? Like at that point, yeah, but I wouldn't say that I would be doing that until probably, you know, I got to lead 30 days, you know, within 30 days of doing something and things are getting pretty serious. Just best rule of thumb, because you're ultimately going to find yourself not as involved in the system. And that's going to be, it's just going to complicate things when it comes to making sure you're consistently following the process.
So the first text that goes out and the subsequent ones after that during the first week, if they respond to those text messages, will I get those or will I not get those?
Oh.
What do you mean, will you get them?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
if they
Everybody.
respond to the text that goes out from the automated system, if they're like, hey, yeah, I want to check this house out or answer whatever question I'm asking them, you know, if they respond to that, will it go to my personal number or will it just show up as a note in?
It's going to show up as a response in the timeline of the lead.
So, okay, so it won't actually go to my phone then.
No,
Okay.
there'd be
There you
no
go. Smart number then.
There'd be no way. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If you set up your notifications for text notifications and push notifications, I believe that you can get a text from KV Core with the response that is said, but you can't converse back and forth through that thread. So
if you have the KV Core, oh, sorry. If you have the KV Core app on your phone, you can respond to emails and text messages through that app on your phone with your smart number.
Correct.
It won't be your direct one.
So the mobile app, you can, you know, of course, text and email through that. I'm saying that there is a feature of on the notifications for text notifications and push notifications. Push notification is something that's like, okay, you've got a notification from KV Core. If you click that notification, it's going to take you into KV Core, the mobile app. But you can also get a text notification, meaning that KV Core is going to text you when there's a response from a lead, and you can see the response from that lead through your text. But you cannot, you know, it's going to come just like it'd come from somebody you know, but you can't converse back and forth through that thread on your phone, if that makes sense. I know that's kind of complicated, but essentially, at the end of the day, you can do it all from your mobile app, but you can get those notifications through text, if that makes sense.
Hey, Braden, I know Carla jumped on here earlier. I don't know if she wants to, you were bragging on her earlier, so.
Yeah. Carla, can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You?
Doing good. No, I was just sharing with them how you got that appointment set for, I think, tomorrow, right?
Yes, it is.
You want to share a little bit about that or what you got going on?
Well, so far since we set up, I probably got about maybe 38 in, and about 5 of them has kind of been going back and forth with me. But the one tomorrow, we're setting up appointment just to look at the property. Like the other lady was saying, the script makes it really good. KV Core is getting easier as you go in and just, you know, do the work and play around with it. It's not a hard system at all. I really actually like working in there. But yeah, I go see the property tomorrow just to look at it. And he is listing one. He's doing repairs right now, but he's going to be buying another.
Awesome.
And how long have you been an agent, Carla?
Well, a couple of months, but we just got set up with the funnels though. You know,
I don't even think you were a week in, were you?
Excuse me?
I don't even think you were a week into running the funnel, were you?
And it was going mad crazy, just every day, just bing, bing, bing. They were coming really fast. I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all this? But, you know, work through it, set it up the way you need to. Like you say, move the ones out who, you know, you're not going to be working with right now, at least, and put the ones up front who is texting you and communicating with you. I really like it a lot.
And Carla's only been an agent for a couple of months, and she's just diving right in. She's in California, and she's been jumping on the calls in the morning, getting up at 5 a.m. to get on some of our other training. So I'm proud of you, Carla.
Thank you.
People don't have excuses, you know, and you could, but you're doing the work and it's paying off. So good job.
Thank you.
As always, following the process, you know.
One more thing, you know, where I was before versus where I am now, I'm just saying company wise, this is like super amazing on the help. I mean, everywhere you turn, somebody is explaining and helping and go here and go there. And it just makes it a lot easier.
Well, that's awesome that you know that. And
I do.
yeah, share that with some agent that you know and like and want to try to help. So after you've been here a little while, I personally take it as a obligation to try to help others and show them what we found and what we created here. So yeah, the company's awesome. James, well, everyone on this call, we're trying to add to each other and to grow something special on top of the foundation of EXP. So what a blessing.
Yes, Andre and his wife has been super helpful in the process. I would be very lost, you know, without him.
Yeah, Andre's and his, don't tell Andre, but his wife Beth is the secret sauce behind all that. So
right.
Andre,
How much would you say someone needs
with you, my brother.
for a
All right,
month
anyone else?
in funnels?
Say that again?
How much would an agent need for a month of the funnels?
Well, it's $10 a day, which equates to typically in a 30-day period, $300 a month. Given you don't go get the smart number, right? Which I think in a perfect world you would. I'm not gonna say, you know, obviously the agents that we're bringing on here are having success, and there are some agents just transparently that are having success a little bit quicker than maybe some other agents that may be on this call. I will say though that it does seem that the agents that are having success quicker are agents that are consistently following the process. Right.
Thank you for hopping on the webinar today with Braden Kinder, James Massey, and myself. What I'd like for you to do, if you want to, is hop on my calendar for about a 10-15 minute. I block off 20 minutes on the call, but it's usually like 5-10 minute call, a strategy call. Be happy to answer any questions, tell you exactly how the program works, tell you about the free version, the low cost version, and well, it's the no cost. I don't like saying free, but no cost version, low cost version, and then how we can help you with consistent lead flow, consistent, predictable closings, adding about 1 to 2 closings additional to what you're doing a month to your pipelines. Very realistic. A lot more to the program than we talked about today in the meeting. We also have weekly trainings. We have one-on-one. We have call groups. We have anything and everything you need to help you to be successful in this market and just to thrive. So give me a call, you can give me a call, 678-907-1853, or hop on my calendar. You can scan the QR code or just go to dansleadsclass.com/call. Schedule a call. Happy to talk to you, see if I can help you in your real estate business, and glad to help you any way I can. So hop on my calendar or give me a call. Talk to you soon.